We're off and running again. And man, this is probably the latest pod I've ever done for any show of mine, but I love doing them late at night because that's my mind is it challenges me more. It was a couple weeks ago, and I'll spare my cliche intro. I'm Steve. This is POSTGAME Podcast. So if people have listened before, they know that, but I'll pass that along really quickly to everybody. Thanks for listening. And yeah, I got online, and I'm a big fan of the UFC. And boxing was the first thing I knew about out of the two, but really any combat. And I've been keeping up with ever since the Tommy Fury Darren Till fight fell through. I've been trying to just see what was going to become of that for Tommy Fury, but also a huge Darren Till fan. And I get online one day and I see that there's an article, and the headline says Tommy Fury's next fight is supposedly booked. And I read the article and I'm like, well, who is he fighting? Because I know that all the stuff that happened. I watched the press conference the day that the Darren Till fight was called off, and I see your name there, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is another guy. This is not going to be anything to do with a KSI Darren Till. And I started reading a little bit about your just your past and your fight history, man. And we look for those stories in sports, but we definitely look for them in life just as much. A success story like yours. And I mean, I'm so happy you got that fight lined up, man. And it must be surreal for you to be going in to Manchester for that on the 29th, the same week that they announced that KSI is going to be fighting Dylan Dennis and all this shit that's been happening.
It's the same show.
Yeah. It's with all the Canelo talk that kind of got thrown to the side, the KSI stuff. But I mean, how in the world did this happen? Because you're a proven boxer. I mean, the record speaks for itself. The challenges that you will take. I mean, it seems like clearly you're not just going in there for the image like some of these people who do it today. How did that name land on the same card as yours, Tommy Fury fighting Matt Floyd?
It's the same. It's the same show as the KSI one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So what was the question? Sorry, it's breaking up a tiny bit, but I can.
Oh no, you're good. So the how did it come to be?
Okay.
How did this fight land in your lap?
So I'm a 15-0 fighter, and a couple of years ago, when I don't even know if he had a fight or a couple of fights, I was at a couple of fights. The question was asked. I think back then you could have probably fought him just for not so much. Back then it was like you probably could have offered a little bit of money or something. But the talk was there. I can't remember the exact talk. I was interested in it, but then it just got, for whatever reason, not talked about. And then obviously I was in Thailand most of last year. I had I think, I don't know how many fights in Thailand, 7 or 8 fights. And there's a lot of English blokes that live in Thailand, like knockaround guys, crims like myself, like pretty good dudes. And they all like my story. Obviously, we got along real well. And I got close to them, and then I met people in England through them who liked me, like people that knew the Fury camp, or people that knew even these misfits. Anyway, they know each other in that clique, And I started talking, and I was talking about how I could have fought Fury a few years ago, and we all started talking about how, that would be pretty decent, good, he should fight someone like me. And then it just went backwards and forwards over the last few months. At first, obviously, it was just talk. And then a couple of weeks ago, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, Mick Francis, who's like Dry Appetized manager, and he's a few other big names manager, and he deals with like Eddie Hearn and all them misfits, that Kelly and that Tyson Fury's manager Spencer Brown and that. And he caught wind of it and was like, Matty, you want to do this properly? Like, you can be talking to these guys for ages, or I can sort this out. Like, they already obviously, it must have got brought up to him, or my name got mentioned somewhat. I don't know how it all works when your name floats around. And he obviously got involved, and he's sorted all that properly, where he's talked to uh, their team like proper and sorted it out. Like, they were obviously interested, and that's pretty much how it all happened.
Whoa, man. Yeah, Eddie. Actually, I think the first time I heard Eddie's name, it was connected to a Tyson Fury fight, which is crazy enough. Was he somebody that influenced you, Tyson, or boxers who you watched growing up who got you
well,
into it?
well, I'm good mates with Lucas Brown, who used to be like Tyson Fury's sparring partner. In fact, I'm an 80 kilo fighter, and Tyson Lucas is 130 kilos, and I was his sparring partner, helping him out for when he fought Paul Gallen. He used to train out of my gym in that. He used to actually run classes out of my gym and help me with my youth program, where we take the boys off the street and that. And so I knew about all that. That was years ago, like when he was Tyson's I can't even remember now, sparring partner and that. So yeah, I've known all of them pretty well. Yeah, I do like Tyson a lot. He does a lot for men's mental health as well. Um, and yeah, I've liked him from before, probably from when he beat Klitschko. Probably after that is probably when I started watching him.
Yeah, I think that is where I first heard his name. It was Klitschko after that fight happened, whoever he fought next. So it was right around that time. And I mean, Tyson's, we're talking about motivational stories. That guy, I mean, to hear from somebody who was as successful as him dealing with those issues mentally, and that's what I admire about you. I mean, similar thing. You're just a story of never give up.
I think
Just
never give up is probably the perfect fucking words, man. Yeah, I've been in and out of mental hospitals, and I've dealt with mental health, obviously, everything I've been through. But I never give up, man. Even now, I'm not giving up. I'm relentless, bro. I'll get hurdles. Like, if I just started telling you about the hurdles that get thrown at me and what I've had to do to fight and things like that, you just wouldn't believe the stories I have to tell. It's just unbelievable stories. So
that's motivation for somebody like me, man. I'm going into this is my fourth year sobriety from drinking, and that's the kind of
congratulations,
stuff.
good job.
Thank you, brother. I look to just keep it like, what can I add on to my story next? And I mean, but for you to be doing it on the world's biggest stage, going from fighting in Thailand to now, I mean, how was that fighting in Thailand, by the way?
I fought Simron Cole. He's recognised as Asia's greatest fighter of all time. So he's obviously a champion of Thailand. I fought him at Lupini, which is a historical stadium over there. Um, Man, I worked out that, like, people ask me this question about, say, Tommy Fury. I said, I hope, there's 100,000 people there cheering for him, because when I fought at Lupini, he had thousands of his supporters there, and I actually thrived through it. Like, I fought better. I liked it better. I felt more at home when there was thousands of people yelling and screaming at me than when, in a small crowd, of I've got a crowd cheering for me. I think I always feel like the world's against me. So the more like, I remember when, as soon as I could hear them screaming, I just sort of smile, to myself. Like, it made me want to kill them even more, bro. So it actually helped me. So yeah, fighting in Thailand showed me sort of a glimpse of what it'd be like to fight in front of a big crowd. I mean, I think they hold maybe 20,000 plus there. And I know where I'm fighting now, Manchester, I don't know how many it is. It's probably 50,000, just guessing at the top of my head. So I hope that there's a full fucking. But by the looks of it, bro, I think everyone will be supporting me so far. So, because it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like many people like him. So yeah.
It's so wild how the public can just go from one end to the next, because I'd watched Tommy Fury and Jake Paul, or I had a stream on listening to like a fight companion with Michael Bisping, and I was listening to him because I wanted to hear what somebody outside of boxing, the way they would commentate it, but also somebody who was British, so I could be like, okay, is this going to be unbiased or what am I going to see? Then I went back and watched it and was like, no, this is pretty clearly Tommy won, and then he beat KSI. I thought that one could have gone any direction, but I mean, lately with Tommy, it's just he's got this or the next thing, just whatever's going to be lined up, and then nothing comes to fruition. And I really want to see somebody like you go in there as opposed to, I don't really want a KSI rematch. I mean, I don't even want to watch KSI as a boxer. No offense to him. I think promotion is the route he should go. And, someday if he does fight Jake, maybe someday, but what are your thoughts on, speaking of the Canelo and Jake fight, if that does happen?
I think Jake's a lot better than what people think, and I think it's great, man, if he can get the fight. I think anyone, like obviously my story is anyone deserves a chance, and if you work hard and things like that. So if he's worked hard enough and it's not bullshit, like if he has trained relentlessly for the last 6 or 7 years, I think that's how long it's been. I mean, he's got all this money, bro. So if he's put all this money into just training and has the best food people and training people around him, he's actually doing that. It's not bullshit. He's got fucking every chance in the world. I mean, you look at people that became world champions at 18, 19 years old. They were just training for the 6, 7 years before that. Look at Tyson, for example. He was a champion at 20. I know Tyson's obviously had a freak body and everything, and he's a different human being. But there are people, with good mindsets that it only takes 4 or 5 years of because obviously like I was just saying then. So if Jake's been training, I mean, I think it's been 6 or 7 years he's been doing it, and if he's been doing that all day every day and not fucking partying and shit, then he's got if he's got all the right people around him, who knows, man? I think anyone's got that chance, bro. I wouldn't write him off.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't go after, because people have talked about,
He's a lot bigger than Canelo, bro. You know what I mean? He's a lot bigger than him.
Oh yeah,
Canelo's only a fucking Canelo. It's like the guy I fought. He come up in weight. Yeah, he was a bit older, but I was at that point in my career where I was trying to cross over to the next level, to the best. So he was my he was an ex world champion, WBC world champion a few times. He fought Jesus. Is it Chavez? I can never say his name
oh yeah,
properly. Jesus
Chavez,
Chavez. Yeah, so he
Chavez
fought
Jr.
him. So he fought him and he fought a lot of big names, man. And but at a much lighter weight, he came up and I was far too big and strong for him. Yeah, he was a bit older, but that was the whole purpose of the fight. It was the team. That's what it was supposed to be. Like it was a crossover, but it's the same. Like these guys Jake's a lot bigger than Canelo. He's coming up from fucking I can't remember what. Like he was a small fighter at the very start.
If he doesn't fight Canelo, which it doesn't sound like that's going to
No, I
happen.
don't think he's gonna, bro. I don't think he will. It doesn't look like it from today, anyway.
Yeah, it's looking. Do you think that's the fight for him to make a Chavez Jr.?
I don't know, man. Yeah, I think fucking after Tommy Fury, he should fight me. Nah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
yeah. But I'd fight either him or Canelo, bro. After Tommy Fury, I'd be happy to fight. Actually, I'd probably rather fight Canelo. I'd love to fight Canelo, bro.
Man, that
But
would.
everyone says that, but the whole world would wants to fight Canelo.
I mean, I can't imagine what will be going.
That's my, if I could, if anyone asked me what would be my ultimate goal would be, yeah, that would be it, to fight him at the end.
Mentally, I mean, God, it's hard to ask you, but what you'd be feeling if you're standing across from Canelo. That's the
I'd
dream.
thrive,
Like
bro.
you said.
I'd love it, bro. Yeah, it would be the best feeling in the world, bro. And I'd do, like, say they said to me that's what's happening, I'd do everything in my power to win, bro. if they told me I was fighting him tomorrow, even though my hand's not ready, it's still half broken, I'd do it. And if they gave me 8 weeks, I'd do everything in my power to get in the best, to be the best for that, you know?
And you're bringing in, the way you're training for Tommy. Are you, have you had a lot of different sparring partners for this one? Has it been different weights
Not
that you've
yet.
been?
I've just had surgery on my hand. So my hand was broken for my last 3 fights. I broke it a week before that Thailand Cinnamon Cole fight. And so I fought with a broken hand. I only just got it fixed 3 weeks ago. So it's probably got another maybe even week before I can fully use it. It's still 8 or so weeks to the fight. So I've just been doing all cardio, a lot of running, a lot of, I'll start sparring probably in 2 weeks' time. And Lucas Brown, he's going to help me spar 130 kilo Lucas. Not that he's the right sparring, but in Perth, I don't get any sparring. I'll have to leave. I'm going to go to England probably 4 or 5 weeks early to get. I've already lined up sparring over there.
And what, when you go over there, do you have a gym lined up for that already?
I've got a few. Yeah, I've got a few. I've been speaking to a lot of people. It's all organised. I think probably even my team, my man, he probably organised the stuff. I mean, he knows all the managers from. He knows it. He just did a show with Eddie Hearn a few weeks ago in Australia.
And have you gotten to talk to Eddie in depth? Had a good conversation with him before?
No, I've been met. I actually a few weeks ago on their show, the Jai Patai show, a couple fights before was Austin Accuso pulled out against because he had a bad back or something, and against a real well known fighter, Letty, and he's a good fighter. And I just got back from Turkey. I'd been eating all bad food. I was overweight, hadn't been training, and they asked me a day before the fight if I would fight, and I said, yeah, fucking oath, did my bloods, booked tickets, fucking was ready to go on the plane, and the zone couldn't get me on the TV because it was too late notice, so I couldn't go. But that was an Eddie Hearn show. I think they got a bit of respect for me for that, and that's probably why another reason they probably helped me get over the line over here. I haven't spoke to him directly, but I've spoken to people that not to him that have spoken to all the other people like the Spencer Browns and Misfits, Callie. I don't know. I don't even know who's who anymore, but I'm just floating these names around from what I've heard now. I didn't know that these guys were the managers and this and that. I only know that through this process. But yeah, I've been passed on all the information and stuff from my manager. I've spoken I messaged fucking probably 500 of Tommy Fury's mates and his fucking barbers. I'm real close, good mates with one of his main barber now. This guy reckons he's been the barber for the Fury family since Tyson was fighting in the amateurs. He said to me, and he's a supporter of mine now. And fucking a lot of his mates are fucking reckon they're gonna come to the fight. One of them said he's gonna walk me out.
Oh my god! Have you been hearing about how I know John Fury's not supposed to be? Big John's not going to be a part.
I've been
of this
messaging
camp.
him too, bro. I don't know what's going on there. They're fighting. I've been messaging Peter as well. Peter's obviously got I know he was in prison and stuff, so I thought he would have some sort of connection with me. So I tried reaching out to him, and they all know about me. And I've been told to be as humble as I can, and that's what I've been doing. And I'm pretty. I try to be humble in life anyway, so it's not but yeah, I've been trying to reach out, but I keep getting told just chill out and fucking just get ready for the fight. So
I'll tell you, with this energy, I could definitely see you in the future in bare knuckle, and I would love to
I love
watch.
that too, man. Yeah, I'm probably to be honest, I don't like saying it because I'm obviously I'm trying my to be the best in the world at boxing. But I think I'd be better bare knuckled fighter just because of my history and this and that. If boxing doesn't go all the way, I think it will. I'm pretty sure, I believe I'll become proper world champion in this sport. But if it doesn't, or if I do that, then at the very end, I'll definitely cross over to bare knuckled because it's all it's definitely saying I know I'd fucking thrive at for sure.
I was listening to Eddie Alvarez talking about the training for bare knuckle and how much different obviously it is from MMA, but aesthetically it looks like it's a lot worse the damage that they're taking. But I mean, it is pretty crazy also to watch those guys go in there and do what they do. I mean, for you, is there anybody that you've watched? Because Bare Knuckle's still pretty young, who you have in mind if
I
you
don't know
jumped
anyone,
over?
man. I don't know any names. I don't know anyone doing it. I haven't watched it. I've seen like 2 minutes at a time. I just know that I'd be better at it because I can grab and I can hold and I can fucking. It's sort of like street fighting, isn't it? A bit. And I mean, I come from the street, bro. I had 500 plus street fights before I went to martial arts. I'm obviously a boxer today, but when you watch me fight in the rings, people sometimes say they can see a bit of the street in me in there.
Yeah, man, it sounds like you had, I mean, a long road to where you are now, but that's the kind of shit I love seeing, man. It's just people people who are truly down for it anytime, anywhere. I mean, and let's say that you go in here and it's the dream you've been looking forward to have the 100,000 people. You get the KO over the Fury name. You beat Tommy. What do you think? After the a couple days have gone by, where do you see yourself going next?
Um, so the Fury fight. So the main reason I'm doing the Fury fight, the number one reason is I've been to show obviously any of the kids out there that have been abused or have been in prison or juvie and things like that, like what do you call it, addiction, all that stuff. It's to show them that anything can be done because this has never been done before. Like everyone talks about the Rocky Balboa. I've quoted this in every interview I've done because it's so true. We all know about Apollo Creed giving Rocky Balboa a chance and a shot, and no one's ever done that in real life. So this is sort of showing the kids that anything can be done. Obviously, probably a week ago, someone mentioned this is a lot about man's mental health, which I never realized. I never thought about it that way because I feel like I'm the poster child for man's mental health. I feel like there's nothing in man's mental health that I haven't been through, and then overcome it. Well, not I haven't. Overcome it in this sense anyway. And from like growing up in a like a pedophile family to being in juvenile to being in prison to leading gangs, to be surrounded by addiction and I've been abused in that, and I'm doing all this, so I feel like it's a lot for man's mental health as well. That's the number one reason of this fight. The selfish reasons are number two. Like, yeah, I know the question was what happens after, like before this fight, and the number two selfish is for me. What I believe is I'm jumping the queue. I'm cheating. Like I feel like in my career I'm 15-0. I feel like I would have to have another 5 or 10 fights to get to someone like Canelo or the best in the world. But I feel like if I beat Tommy Fury, I'm sort of jumping that queue where I can almost call anyone out from there, or I'll be very close to it. If I fought someone like Jake Paul after that and beat him, then I could definitely call out someone like Canelo. Canelo can't be like, oh, I don't fight YouTubers because I'm a 17-0 boxer that has beat, if he was close to fighting Jake Paul and I'm a 16-7-0 and I beat Jake, like, or Tommy Fury, it'd be hard for him to, he can't call me a YouTuber then, like he did with Jake.
Yeah, man. I mean that you really cut deep with that because I love how you're not putting yourself out there as like this is when I win. I can't wait to think about what I'm gonna do. I mean it's a massive stage that you'll have, and to use it for something good like that. I love it, man. I love seeing people doing that kind of stuff because we we all as people, I think, but a lot of young men too. I mean, and where you came from to rise above that, it's something that I think people are going to take notice of. That's why I think people are going to root for you going forward because you're not looking for hear you say that and then follow it up with I would feel like I'm cheating if I'm going to be fighting somebody like Jake Paul if I win this. But it is true, you would be in that position, and that's so crazy to think about. I mean, that's the world we live in today where these fights are just it's the side league is kind of taken over, but I
But it is
mean,
the world we live in, today. It is. It is. I mean, I don't even know about social. I mean, I knew about social media, but I didn't even use social media, bro. So like, 2 years ago, I started using Instagram because I was made to for boxing. My mate, who was managing me at the time, said you have to have at least one, you know, um, social media platform. So I was refused to have social media. I was one of them ones. I know I'm not having it, blah. So I ended up fucking doing it. Luckily, because I wouldn't be where I am doing this today if it wasn't for social media. So, um, but yeah, it's yeah, it's very interesting, very bizarre road, man. And not that it means anything, like it's very minimal, but compared to like the actual fight itself is gonna will be able to change a lot within man's mental health and the things that I'm fighting for. Um, that can. What can't is like like say my purse, say I get a purse, whatever it is. I've already said once again on every interview I've done that they can donate it to the homeless and men's mental health. Um, but I've always said like that's very minimal compared to what the actual fight itself is going to represent.
do you have any aspirations to someday have your own gym that you're running, coaching, next
I
world
have.
champs?
I've got my own gym.
You've got now. Do you
Dinky's
just have?
gym. Yeah, we take kids off the street and it runs like a normal gym as well. It's a proper 24-hour gym. I've had a few gyms, but yeah, this is the one I've got now and we take that's the whole thing. I've got a boy now I took off the street when about 8 years ago. He's Australian and Australasian champion. Now today he's 6-1 in fighter and he runs my gym for me. And he lives across the road from the gym and now he looks after some boys and that now as well
Are
and
you
becomes mates
expanding?
with.
Are you bringing that to like? Are you trying to bring it to other countries? Like you bring it to the
Nah,
U.S.?
no one will do it, bro. Like I've tried. I've had people reach out to me. I've had people come to me and say, "We'll make this bigger and this and that," but nothing ever happens. I fund it all myself, bro. I've never had any help from anyone. I've never asked for it. I wouldn't take it anyway. But yeah, heaps of people have said, like I've tried. Like at the start, I mean, I've been doing this forever, and at the start, I was obviously pushing to make it bigger. I wanted to have one everywhere for these kids and this and that, and but it just never happened. People will just sort of talk shit, waste your time. So I just stopped sort of worrying about it, man.
Has it ever happened where you've had somebody come in off the street and go and just challenge
All
you
the
straight
time.
away?
Yeah, every day, man. I'll bump into people off the street, bro, and take them in, bro. Like in my local area in Freo or wherever. I'll see and I'll go eat with them and I'll take them into my local restaurant and eat with them, whatever. And it's not unusual for me to rock up with random people back to the gym or back to the house or whatever I do.
Man, I tell you, that's a way to get people is if you just get everyone from that gym to walk you out in Manchester. Jesus, man,
I'm gonna
that's
try I'm gonna try part of whatever. I don't know how whatever gets negotiated. I'm gonna try obviously bring as many people as I can.
I mean, I could see, if you came to fight here, it'd be, Florida's a big state for fighting. Obviously Vegas, Cali. I think you could be a massive star over here because I think that's just starting to happen with, the UFC in the last 10 years. They really started to get big international attention, because of a lot of stars from outside of there. But I think it's still young and this YouTube boxing, that kind of stuff. But you're real. They would latch onto you because it's like, yeah, you're a real fighter. And I think that was the angle sort of that Tommy was using when he was fighting Jake Paul. Was he was like, no, I've sparred real competition, and you haven't. But I think the public is definitely going to be pulling for you in that one. And it's just crazy because I think in the States, yeah, I mean, your story is still, it's still being told, but you have a U.S. audience that is it'll amaze you how it's going to look, 2 years, 5 years down the road. I love watching it happen in real time, man. I can't wait to watch that card. I mean, what are your thoughts on? I will ask about the, because he had a ridiculous outing the last time he boxed, but that Dylan Dennis fight. What did you think when you saw that get announced?
Yeah, I think like good on them, like like doing what I know like what they're trying to do, but it's going to be like I think if anyone can make anyone does well, like good on them. But it's a horrible fight. Like it's just yeah, pointless, horrible. But everyone will still watch it. So I mean, everyone. It's funny because a lot of people said to me here, oh, they're like, oh, that's not good for you, that them being on that card. And I'm like, man, remember Tyson and Jake Paul? Everyone said they weren't going to watch it. Everyone said they weren't going to bother. Blah blah blah. It was the most watched fight in the world, and it'll be the same. And this will be the same, bro. Everyone will still watch it. It's KSI, so and even Dylan Dennis, he's got a big. I don't know if you call him a fan base, but everyone always tunes in for him. So, but it's a horrible fight. Like KSI should finish it pretty early unless he plays with him the whole time. Like I don't know.
Do you see any of those guys like? I mean, do you think Jake is eventually going to do the PFL thing?
Sorry? It cuts out sometimes.
Oh no, you're good. Do
What
you
was the
do you
last thing
think
you said?
could you see? Do you think Jake Paul will step into MMA eventually? Do PFL?
Nah, I think he just says all that because what Jake Paul does is he makes statements, he says things for controversy because he wants people to comment and tune and this and that. So obviously him saying I'm going to go to the MMA, like even when they talk trash about Connor, they're all good mates, man. And they're just talking. It's all just they try and say they probably even talk to each other and go, hey man, do you reckon I should say this? And then and then say stupid shit like yeah, they do it all on purpose, man. They try and say what you have to do as a YouTuber is you have to say something as controversial as possible, whether people hate you or like you, and it has to have as many comments as possible or whatever. So it's just all bullshit. Like, um, man, like you never know. He might with Jake Paul. You don't know. Like I mean, I know that if I got told to, if someone told me I couldn't do it, or if someone offered me, like a big fight against someone in MMA in a few months, I would say yeah, and I'll do it. So maybe Jake Paul seems to have that mentality. I think he's got it more than his brother. I think Logan's show, and I think Jake sort of got it a bit. Well, he's proven it, hasn't he? Like in his fights and that. So yeah, um, maybe you don't know. What I do know is he's saying everything as controversial as possible, so that makes it difficult to read whether he's serious or not about whether he would do it or not. But I guess time will tell, right?
Oh yeah.
It's a good
Um,
question, bro. Because I went around in circles as I was answering it in my head. So a good question when you're going backwards and forwards in your answer.
I mean, you make a good point. The way these guys they're probably talking behind the scenes, like, oh, I'll say this and you do that. I mean, I noticed that first when Jake lost to Tommy, the whole stage thing with Floyd when they were outside of that nightclub, and Floyd Mayweather's like chasing Jake, and then you find out that they're cool with each other, and him and George Masvidal. I think it's pumping the numbers well, and it's going to be interesting at least to see where these guys end up, because it's one thing if you're Francis Ngannou and you were able to handle the competition that John Jones is fighting, but it's another when you're just a guy that started out at Disney and here you are now. But I see you as somebody who would really jump into MMA and actually have success doing it, and that's what I like to watch, is that kind of stuff, because it's a different era too. I mean, there's so much of it out there. All these leagues I don't know about. I mean, would you ever do that? Would you be the CEO of one of these fighting organizations?
Nah, I'm not interested in any of that. I got heaps of mates that come to me and say, "Man, we want you to manage us," from the gym and that. And I always say, "No, I'm just your friend, man. I don't want anything from you. If you make $1 million, I'll just be happy for you." Definitely not interested in any of that CEO, manager, all that shit at all.
Yeah, it's a lot of textbooks, a lot of numbers, and you know
I
Get
take
that out
in
of your
too many
mind.
kids as it is, man. I've got too many responsibilities as it is, bro. I always take in too much. It's already fucking hard enough, what I'm doing, let alone fucking, yeah.
Would
Trying to fight. I'm just trying to. It's hard for me just to fight after. It's hard for me to train for fights. You know, looking after all these fucking kids and looking after
where's
fucking everything.
and in Perth, is there do you have the kind of a dream fight in mind to, you want to do there eventually, or has that never
Nah,
been?
I'm not interested in fighting in Perth, bro. I've got a lot of good people in Perth that I'd love to fight in front of. A lot of supporters in that. But the commission here, like the boxing commission, like I'm not interested in fighting in Perth. Because fucking because I went to prison for kidnapping pedophiles, or I got done for kidnapping and bashing a pedophile. And when I got out of prison, they wouldn't let me fight. The people in Perth, the boxing commission, even though they all knew that it was. I used to always say it's just a pedophile, but and people like Danny Green, who's like he's like one of the probably biggest known boxers we've had in Australia. He come in and spoke to him and said like, what I did, like I should be in a water medal, like it shouldn't be considered violent. And they wouldn't let me fight for years, man. For years and years, I had to fight because I wanted to fight. So they took years away from me from my life. I already spent all most of my 20s in prison, and now these cunts have taken years away from me when I get out from fighting, like what I want to do. So yeah, I've got a bit of like I don't sort of like a bit of like they can get fucked sort of thing. There's the manager here like that runs all the fights, Tony Tolge and Angela Hyder. I'm very close to them, very good friends of mine. They run the shows in Perth. If they asked me, if they were like, hey, we want you to do a show to help us, because I'd probably, what do you call it, I'd get a lot of numbers to help them to the show. I'll do it for them, as much as I wouldn't want to, because I hate the boxing commission in Perth. Not hate, but think, I'm not happy with what they did to me. But I'll do it. I'm sort of person that if they said, look, we need you on the show, that's the only way I'd fight, is to do them a favor or to help someone out or something. But other than that, I wouldn't fight in Perth again in Western
And
Australia.
would you think you'd commentate fights, or is that something not really?
Nah, not interested in any of that. No, I just want to
Yeah,
fight. That's about it. I just want to fight. When I can't
it's
fight anymore, bro, I'll probably stop watching it. I probably won't want anything to do with it. I'll probably I'll still take kids into that and try and help them, but it'd be very hard for me because so many years were taken away from me. So, um, I think when I can't fight anymore, I'd probably find that's going to be very hard in itself to accept. So I'll have to just deal with how do I accept that first, and then I'll work out what I'm doing from there. But I won't be commentating or COing or anything. I'll probably be staying away from it, to be honest.
some people. I mean, comparable in another sport, like Bo Jackson. I mean, because the Super Bowl's tomorrow. Go Eagles, by the way. Even though I think they're going down, but a big name in the NFL who he doesn't watch any football really anymore is Bo Jackson. That it's kind of crazy how some people they get away from it and then they don't really want to be tied to it anymore because but I think it's a little bit more intimate in fighting. I think you're going out there giving your soul to it, and it's not really, you can't look at it like, oh, I'm going to sit down with popcorn and friends and watch it. It's maybe a little bit of what you're feeling, and I can understand that. I can respect that, and I'm glad that you have other things that you're not letting like lost time get in your way, but you have plenty of things to keep you busy also. So you're on the right path, man. And I mean, it'll be surreal to be sitting there watching you in Manchester. Just it's like, man, this guy I know what he's gone through to get there, dude. I don't think you're one of these people that's going to be, wearing a suit and tie, being at a Netflix roast someday. I think you just want to go in there, handle business, and then go home. It's not a show to you, but you deserve the crowds, brother. And I mean, you deserve all the success that you have. And I tell you, I would love to do one of these again. I mean, put your soul into this
absolutely.
camp. And you're always welcome on this podcast, man, and any show I
Thank you.
do. I tell you, and man, hey, if you anybody from your gym, hey, if they ever wanted to come on and talk too, I'm all about giving you as much attention as I can. This show is pretty young. I started it in 2022, but I've been trying to just spread across different sports, but I'm just so connected to people mainly in combat sports. So I was doing UFC fighters, kind of like covering that and MMA to start with. And then I was like, nah, I got to get into boxing a little more and bare knuckle. It wasn't going anywhere, all these side organizations too, like, misfits and that kind of stuff. So I'm glad I found you, man. And I couldn't believe how quick you were to get back to my message. I was like, this is crazy because yeah, I've watched Tommy from the very beginning, pretty much of his boxing career, maybe right before he fought Anthony Taylor, but I didn't know his name was. I saw Fury, and then I was like, oh, that's Tyson's brother. And now to see somebody like you in there, I think he's really getting a challenge this time, man. And it's going to be interesting to see if he gets that shot from you and he's like, this is more than I could chew. So give him absolute hell in there, man. And hey, thank you for your time tonight.
No, thanks for having me, brother. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. And you're going to be a star in the States. Believe that.
I'd love to come there, man. I'll come see you when I'm there.
Absolutely, man. I'm telling you, anywhere you go in Florida, you people will eat your story up. I'm telling you that much. And Jacksonville always welcomes you.
Thanks, man. Take care, brother.
You too, my brother.